And good morning. Catherine McNulty here, and today we are talking about how to grieve in 2025. Everything about this world is different in 2025, and there is an opportunity and a challenge ahead of you. If you are grieving, I want you to know that there is a new way to grieve in 2025 that is going to be less lonely, leave you feeling less lost, and leave you feeling less misunderstood. Because let's all just realize that grief is a lonely process. Grieving is hard. When we lose the people that we love, we are devastated. Our world shifts in a way that, thank you so much. I'm so glad that you're here. Our world, I can't see with these glasses on. Our world changes when we lose the people that we love. I lost my son. I know many of you, you've lost a spouse, a parent who was close to you, who was dear to you, a child that you never expected to have to bury. And the world right now is in a crisis because so many people don't know how to grieve. And there is a plan, there is a way to grieve, and you don't have to be a victim to it. And it doesn't have to be something that just happens to you, that you have to just sit around and take and just hope that things are just going to get better. The whole phrase, like, time heals all wounds, it doesn't cut it anymore. It's not enough. Your life is too important. Your worthiness, your deservingness of happy is too important to let grief overtake you, to let grief take you out of the game, to let grief question your worth and make you wonder whether or not you even deserve to be happy. If you feel that way, I want you to let me know, because that's how I felt all those years ago when I was grieving. And I want you to know that in 2025, things are new. There is a new way to grieve that I have created that is simplest, not easy, but simple, the most inexpensive way for you to get the help that you need. And I'm not talking about help that doesn't work, help that leaves you lonely, help that makes you wondering why. I talk to so many people who have tried therapy and it hasn't worked for them. I've talked to people who have gone to Christian grief support groups that haven't worked for them. I've talked to people that have gone to local support groups that haven't worked for them. And do you want to know why? Is because grief needs to come out. We need to find a positive way to grieve that honors what we're going through, that honors the people that we've lost in such a meaningful way. I'm not talking about acting like it didn't happen. I'm not talking about moving on. What I'm talking about is overcoming all the things that stop you from grieving effectively, from learning about grief, from learning about yourself and your life, and learning about your future and what that means for you. Because here's the thing. You guys know I wear this cross a lot. I've been wearing it every day lately because it makes me feel closer to God. It makes me feel closer to Jackson. It makes me feel closer to my dad, who I believe are in heaven. And it helps remind me who I am, that I am a child of God, and that God doesn't want me to suffer. But here's the thing. There is another way. Grief is not about suffering in a way that should debilitate you. Yes, We've lost our loved ones. We are desperate to see them again, to hear from them, to hold them, to hug them, to talk to them. And it's sad because that's not going to happen for a while. But here's the thing, if you believe that they are somewhere, whether it be heaven, whether it be somewhere else, and if you believe that they are okay, and I know so many of you do, if you believe that they are okay, then all that is left is for you to figure out how to get through this life, how to move forward in this life without them. And I don't want to minimize how difficult that is, how lonely that can be. It breaks my heart when I hear spouses who are home alone, and they're not used to being home alone because they're used to having their spouse there with them, particularly on Christmas, on the holidays, and on every day because they're used to being with them. It breaks my heart when I hear from people who have dedicated their entire lives to helping care for their loved ones. And they've lost purpose because now they don't have their loved ones to care for anymore. And that was the thing that gave them purpose and meaning for their lives. And now they're lost. And they have to ask themselves the question, why? What is my purpose? Why am I still here? And what do I do now? These questions are all questions that we all have as we grieve. And there is nothing wrong with that. It is the grief process. There's so much that you may be going through right now. And if you are wondering, is this normal? I want you to drop a comment below and ask, because there is so much about grief that we think is not normal. But we realize that it is normal. So let me cut to the chase. The new way to grieve in 2025 is with the grief-inspired school community that I have built. We've got about 50 people in there right now, and it's growing. And I'm super excited because it is the fastest way, the lowest cost way for me to help as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. Shirley, I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you guys are all here. If I have helped you, please drop a comment below so that people know, that there is hope. I was reminded yesterday by a dear friend that I give people hope, that I have compassion, that I guide you along the way. And that's what the school community is. But that is just it. It's a community, and it's bigger than me. It's bigger than me. It's amazing how the people that I have helped are now the ones that go in there and lift other people up, that share positivity and hope, that remind people who are earlier in the grief that you can get through this, that it's going to be okay, that you're going to figure it out, that your loved ones are okay in heaven or wherever they may be. They are okay. This is about you. This is about you and your life and figuring it out. So in the school community, you're going to get access to people who are incredible, for people who have gone before you, have learned how to grieve, have started to figure it out. You're going to get access to weekly coaching every week, because here's the thing, grieving does take work. It takes focus. But there's a reward with that work. So if you do the work, you will be rewarded. I saw a post this week that says it doesn't get any better. And I do not believe that. It does get better. It can get better. And I have so many people that are part of my groups and that watch here on YouTube that it has gotten better, that you've started to figure it out. Is it easy? Is it a quick fix? Absolutely not. That's not what grief is. You've loved people for how many years? Your parents, your whole life you've loved them. Your spouse, has it been 8, 10, 12, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, and in my mom's case, 65 years, plus the time that they dated. You don't get over grief in a minute when you've loved someone for that long, and you're not supposed to. Grief is part of the human process. It's part of the human experience. And I know that there are days when you wish that grief could go away, but I question, do you really want your grief to go away? Or do you just want to learn from it? Do you want to learn how to hold it? Do you want to learn how to carry it with you? The tagline here is move forward in grief and learn how to live with your loss. That's what we are all doing here. That's why you come to these videos, is because you're looking for hope. You want a solution. And I'll tell you what, I have the solution. And the solution is get your grief out. You got to talk about your grief. You got to get with other people. You got to journal about your grief. You got to learn about it. You got to get educated. You got to understand yourself. It's about personal growth, figuring out who you are and what this means for you, and then where you want to go. It's about compassion, accepting compassion from other people, having compassion for other people, but most importantly, having compassion for yourself. It's about being coachable and being willing to learn, being willing to look at the hard stuff, and having somebody, a coach like myself, tell you stuff that you don't want to hear. Somebody to pull you along, to guide you and remind you that you cannot quit on yourself, because there are other people that are counting on you. There are other people who are watching you grieve and waiting for you to grieve so that they can have permission to grieve and be vulnerable. That's what this is about. Grief is not weakness. Grieving is strength. Being part of a community who is willing to grieve and who wants to move forward and who wants to find that path and who wants to learn how to live with their loss and find meaning and purpose and put it back out in the world. How can you help someone today if you are deep in grief? Find someone else that you can lift up today, that you can reach out to, that you can call and say, hey, I'm just thinking about you. I want you to know that you're not alone in this. I'm grieving too. Let's grieve together. It's monumental. It's the little things that make such a big difference. So I want to invite you to come to the school.com platform, search for Grief Inspired. You can find us there. If you're searching grief there, I am proud to say that I am the #1 grief community on the school.com platform, and I want to stay that way. And I want you to come and be part of this journey with me. Come with the amazing people that I have pulled together somehow by the miracle of God. And they can help you. They can support you. There is no reason to feel lonely in grief, because there are people who care. We can teach you to question your thoughts, because our thoughts, they can take us out of the game. But we can learn how to deal with that. We can learn how to put positivity in our life. We can learn how to look at the love that we shared and to focus more on what we have than on what we've lost. All of these things are some of the tenets that we focus on in the Grief Inspired community. I want you to join us. I want you to send me an email if you have a question at griefinspired@gmail.com. If you want to talk, if you want to figure it out, if you want to say, is this right for me? Is it the right community? There is a free trial that you can join, and you can have a full week to see it all. We come together twice a week right now on live Zooms to talk about our loss, to talk about what's going on, to hear from other people. In the beginning, you just need to hear from other people and hear what they've gone through. But then you can start to share too. And you can start to open up, and you can start to heal. And before you know it, you're the one who's in there going, wait a minute, do I have a right to feel better? Do I have a right to find joy and happiness? And the answer to that is yes. And when you feel that way, my charge to you is to go and give it to someone else. Give away what you have learned. That is the grief-inspired mission. I am building the #1 online grief community that is going to help more people than ever. And I want you to be part of it. Come with me. Do not miss out on this. 2025 is a year of healing. It is a year of growth. It is a year of positivity. It is the year to take your life back. It is the year to be inspired by your grief. It is a year to move forward. Move forward with me. Come with me. Be part of the solution. Don't let your grief overtake you. Do not let yourself be a victim. Do not stay stuck, lost, misunderstood, and confused. There's no reason to be there. I am ready and willing full-time to help you now. In case you didn't know, I am full-time. Come with me. Be part of this. And I can't wait to meet you, to hear your story, and get you to a place where you can pay it forward, where you can start helping other people. Now I've got to go pick up my mother. It's Sunday. It's church day. I've got to go. We'll see you all soon. Don't wait. Do it now.